he'll say, live, there we are. We are live right now with Grace Keohohou Hao.
Yes.
Good afternoon. There, it's morning. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sure we're going to have a lot of people live because I usually do this in the morning here, but we do have a big audience that watches the replay, so never fear. Oh, I'm so glad you decided to come on. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, thank you, Lisa. We've known each other for so many years, and you're always up to such great and exciting things. So when you sent the invitation, I was like, yes, I'm in.
Yay! I like to think it's great and exciting too. Although I got to mention this to everybody. See my green? It looks like a big giant green ball in the background. I had this great idea that I was going to cover up the chaos in my bookshelf. Yeah, then I couldn't figure out how to put it on my chair like you're supposed to. So right now it looks like a giant green ball in my background. Yeah, take me as I am or watch me as I go. That's the motto anyway. So I've known you even before BC, before my kid, BC, no, it would be BK, right? Before kid, but not before yours. Yeah. So because I had a picture taken with you that I put in the graphic promoting the show that we had taken in 2006, which would have been the year after my kid was born, but I think we knew each other longer than that.
Yes, we did. I think we've known each other since, I think, in the 2000s. I mean, before we even really launched I mean, I think I had a 1-year-old or an infant. I maybe just had a brand newborn when we met.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna blurt this right at the beginning because every time I talk to you, I blurt. I'm sure everybody does that. You have 8 kids.
Yes, I know.
At this point, now that my kid is 16, all I can think of is you must be a master delegator and a master coach. This, bar none. There's got to be nobody that can do this better than you.
Oh my goodness. Well, the master has never arrived. That's for sure. When I'm a master, I'm dead. I still am mastering these skills. I'm learning something new every day. That our children are such a rich environment for learning, and I share with people often, my children are my greatest specimens. I practice all of my skills with my family. Including my husband. I practiced my coaching skills on him, and I told him one day, I said, the reason we've been married so long is because I coach you.
Oh, that's kind of awesome. My big mistake in the whole thing, I've been married twice and it didn't stick because I'm not good at that, but I thought they came pre-trained. See, I didn't know I had to train them. And so that's why when I just recently last year got a dog, I made sure I didn't get a puppy. No, I got a dog because I can't even train a husband. Come on. I know, at least I know my limitations, right?
Yeah, in the same instance, like with coaching, we're not necessarily training them. See, that's the beauty, is that we're awakening their creative genius. We're awakening their greatest expression. So it's not even training them to do things. It's
so you're just training them to figure it out themselves.
Yeah. Exactly. And people don't want to be, oftentimes people that we love the most and people that we lead, they want to explore what they know and how they can make use of what they know. There's 2 ways that I like to look at it. When we're training someone, we're planting seeds. So we're teaching them concepts, we're sharing knowledge, we're offering them insights. When we're coaching someone, we're watering those seeds. So we're pouring into their lives, creating an environment where they're optimized. One of the things that I like to say is when we're training, sometimes we're the star on the stage. When we're coaching, though, we're a guide on the side, and the person and people we're coaching are the star on the stage. And this is a very valuable distinction. And the more frequently we can do this, the more likely people are to lead with excellence. I'm hearing some background. Let me see if I've got.
No,
Are you hearing feedback?
No.
Okay,
so
good.
It said on the directions, if you hear feedback as one of the presenters, that you could wear headphones so you wouldn't hear it. But the rest of us aren't hearing it anyway. So if it bothers you, you could wear headphones.
Oh, no, not at all. It doesn't bother me at all. I just want to make sure it's not for our
recording. No.
Yeah.
No. I would actually let's go back to there was 3 of you that started the DSWA. What was the whole thing? Because I know I've heard it before and it was exciting, but the whole thing where you came up with the idea to start it to begin with.
Yes. So we were looking for ways we had been in the direct selling profession in various capacities. So one of us was an owner, one of us was a top executive, and the other was in the field working as a direct selling professional. And we were consistently talking about, wouldn't it be nice if there were training concepts that were specific to our business? Wouldn't it be nice if there were ideas that could be pooled as far as knowledge to share and contribute, so that there are more people achieving and accomplishing and being successful in our business? More examples, because a lot of people, they work within their company, which is wonderful, that we're only learning within that company, though. Mm-hmm. If we can learn from people's experience, gosh, what have they discovered that would be useful in my business? Not to recruit them, to learn with them and from them. And so that was a concept that we kept talking about, and we're not finding a resource for that. There was, and still is, an association for the companies. There wasn't necessarily an association for the people. And so that's where we brought this to light and to life. And there were a lot of people that were like, that can't be done, or it won't be done. And here we are 20 years later, and it's been done, and it's still being done, and it's still growing in countries all around the world, because there was a need for something that wasn't in place, and they were looking for that need, and we were there to fill it.
I think my favorite part is when I've gone to more than one of the coach schools, but the first one I went to, meeting because I've been in the top earners in my company for 20 years, I think. I must have been a wee child when I yes. Right. But anyway, but I don't get to, in real life, I don't get to interact with other top earners from other companies unless they're trying to recruit me, usually. And that was the first time that I was around a whole bunch of other top earners where it wasn't just a suggestion, it's you cannot. So you knew it was a safe place. We could talk about anything, it didn't matter. And we all had common experiences. And for some reason, that was an eye-opener for me. I'm like, wow, I mean, we're all the same. We just happen to rep for a different company. So it was very, very enlightening, even without the lessons we learned. Just being around the other people was worthwhile.
Oh, yes. And what we can learn and discover. It's interesting how and that was one of the concerns that were apparent when we first started our organization. It was like, well, if this happens, they're going to recruit each other. And you don't want them to gather like that. Well, we created the organization to pool knowledge, not to recruit one another. I think what also is important to keep in mind is that I think we've got a guest speaker. Hello, I see it, your dog.
My cat too. Yeah. You're just lucky we haven't had any barking yet. Usually we have some barking and a cat fight within the hour, so just prepare yourself.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my goodness. Yes, appearances. That's a part of our business. So what we have discovered is that when we can pool our knowledge and collective wisdom and then work that knowledge within our own businesses, what we can accomplish is accelerated. And so we can, it's almost like we can refine, iron sharpens iron. So if we're around people that are operating at a very high level, and they're modeling best practices, if they've jumped over some hurdles that we may have tripped on, my gosh, we can make use of those strategies to work in our own businesses and then further develop the people that we lead. So yeah, we've had a tremendous amount of positive feedback from people that are grateful that they've come together to learn together and to grow together. So yeah, it's been
What's funny is that still is many corporations still don't realize that I can be friends with another company's rep, or I can hang around with other company rep and not want to do it, not want to switch. I can buy from them and appreciate them and listen to what they've done and learn from them without wanting to jump. And I'm not sure why companies, they get so protective of their people that they're almost repelling their people by doing that, because I've learned so much being around other companies, other top earners, other people, and that hasn't made me want to go do all the other things. So yeah, I wonder how we get more companies to realize that that's probably been your issue that you've had to work on this whole time, to get more companies to be open to that.
Sure. One thoughts for a company to consider when it comes to the representatives or the people in their field. The people are their greatest asset. So it's not their product innovations. It's not their years in business. It's their people. Their people are their greatest asset. So it makes sense that they'd be protective of them. The key to consider is how do I earn, as a company, how do we earn the loyalty of our sales force? Because truly it's an earned loyalty. How do we make it so that what we're providing is bringing value to them, that the value exchange is there, so they feel like I am here and my return is worth the investment I'm putting into my business, and their whys are being fulfilled. So that is something for smart, savvy, progressive companies. This is what companies are going to be called to ask themselves going forward. How, even asking their sales force, what was it about our company that brought you to a yes? That would be a question. And that would be even for a leader to ask a new consultant or a new team member. What was it about our company, our offer, our invitation that prompted your yes? How can we earn your loyalty? So what would you be looking for as a result of your investment of time and treasure? And for many people, time is treasure. So what would you be looking for as a return for what you're committed to investing in your business? And now people can shop businesses from the comforts of their home, from their phones. They can shop it anywhere. People are being bombarded with opportunity and offers. What makes you stand higher or above the rest? What makes what you have to offer appealing to people? And that's where we as companies are going to be called to be more innovative, because it's not just that they're going to a conference or an event being introduced to a business. They're being introduced to a business every day, all day long.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I don't know. My worldview has changed amazingly enough, but I've actually been with my main gig about 35 years. I was a wee child when I signed up, obviously, right? Yes, but I think I was more protective of the people too. Now, when I have a big leader, or actually anybody that wants to not do this anymore and go with another company, I would rather they do that and me honor their decision, because many times they come back. If I have a big bad reaction and try to get them to stay, for one, that never worked. And for two, that's not what's best for them right at this moment.
Yeah.
So I've had much better experience by saying, I think you should do that if that's a better fit right now. And then I support them however I can, either tell other people that they're doing that to help them get new business or whatever. And then sometimes it wasn't that good of a fit like they thought, and they come back to me too. But
Yeah.
if I had made a big deal about them leaving, then they wouldn't have felt like this. It was safe to come back to me, I think.
Oh, that's a good point. I agree with you, Lisa. I think that sometimes convincing, so desperation prompts hesitation in our team and in our prospects. So if we're desperate to hold on to them, they'll eventually leave because it wasn't in that moment a fit. So I think you're wise to meet people where they're at. I respect your decision. And so not to convince them. It was interesting. I was coaching a client recently, and she was sharing with me a phenomenal story about how she had a team member that was doing consistent volume in her organization for quite some time. And she suddenly walked away from the business. And for years, she didn't know what the reason was. She just said, this is no longer for me, walked away. Well, she, with courage, years later, contacted this woman that had a substantially consistent business. It was in, production, volume of like $5,000 a month. So it was stable and consistent. It was a consistent volume. She contacted her and she said, may I ask you something? Now, this was not to convince her to come back. This was to gain knowledge and understanding of what transpired. When she contacted her, the woman said, well, she said, I stepped away because I thought that what I was doing and how I was contributing was not that important. And she said, well, what do you mean? She said, well, I felt like what I was doing wasn't enough. And she said, because what I was doing was not being celebrated.
Oh.
I know. Lisa, this is like hot. Okay. So she said, what was being celebrated was growth, advancement, next level stuff, doing the above and beyond, going for more. And she said, I was at a stage in my life where I was happy. I was in a place where this was perfect for me. This was a feel good fit for me. The challenge was that wasn't being celebrated. That wasn't being acknowledged. Therefore, I didn't see my place in the business anymore. Learning lesson is when we can meet people where they're at, when we can discover what they're looking for. How can we celebrate them based on what's the way they define success? That $5,000 in production per month on a consistent basis over the years, and even over just in the short period of time, is massive. And it was a massive missing piece. Now she knows how to address it because of the pains she walked through. I just wanted to keep that in mind. Is, again, how can we build the relationships? How can we understand what's important to this person at this stage of their life, what they're looking to get out of the business? And how can we celebrate those victories versus, okay, you were top in sales, or you were top in recruiting, or you were top in consistency, or what we measure on our standards. Also tuning into what are her standards, and how can we still celebrate what is a victory for her.
I think that's been hard for me to. Why it's been hard is because I guess in our company they consider team building as like a program. So it's called something, it's called leadership. Okay. And for some reason, for years, I thought everybody that got into leadership wanted to go to the top of the pay plan because I did. And I didn't realize many people don't want that. Many people are just happy a couple rungs up the ladder. And it's been a hard lesson to learn, because sometimes those people even say to me they want the top of the pay plan, but from their actions, I know they actually don't, that they're happy where, performing where they're performing. And I think that that's been hard to grasp, is I have to make sure that I look at what they're doing and try to be happy if that's what they want to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If it's a good fit for them. So.
Yeah. And one way to do that is to tap into, what does that look like? So when we can ask somebody to describe, what does success look like to you? What does success feel like to you? Who do you know that is successful, and who do you admire that is successful? And using that word admire, because sometimes what happens is people can sabotage their success. They can sabotage if they have their view or perspective of success is counterproductive. They may talk themselves out of something that they're truly capable of, or that they have a desire for. Their impression or their self-talk is saying, oh, success is greedy, or success is you'll have to step on other people to get to the top, or whatever their impression of success is. That's why if you frame the question of what does it look like, what does it feel like, you can uncover any type of limiting belief. And when you can uncover a limiting belief, you can address it. When you can address it, that's when it's almost like a freeing experience for people, where they can move past that and towards that vision of more for their lives. Some people, I like to call it their reason. So what would be your reason for this business? Some language that we've been teaching in one of our series, we teach a series on recruiting, and it's called Multiply the Power of Team Building. And in this series, we talk about sometimes people, they want a milestone achievement. They're not ready to look at, okay, what's my life purpose, vision? What's all of that?
That's too much. Yeah,
that's too much. They're like, oh, that makes me so nervous, because for many of us, we were, don't dream too big, don't think too large. Someone else had that thought of don't be that bold in your request for what you prefer for your life. And so some people, they push that down, versus we have an opportunity to say, well, if there was an experience that you would like to make before the kids go back to school, or that you would like to plan for this fall, for your fall break, for your time that your business could fund. So if there were memories that you'd like to create that your business could pay for, what would that be? And so what happens is that they're starting to think of an interim goal or a vision in a way that's meaningful for them, versus if we just simply say, well, what's your goal? Some people that don't talk that language yet, they don't know what their goal is yet. You're introducing them to the business. Or what's your why? Most people outside of our profession don't ask those questions. They're not asked their why. So using the word like reason in the infancy of your invitation to the business, that can work very well. What would be a reason to consider this business? What are some of the things that you've told yourself no for that you would like to say yes to? What
Ooh.
memories would you like to create with those you love?
Take notes.
You know,
Oh my God, I gotta take notes here. Oh, I like that. The you've said no to and you want to say yes to. I
yes
like
to.
that.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna make a quick note. Sorry.
okay, sure.
If you click on the right, there's comments there. Matter of
Oh,
fact, Teresa Cry is saying hello,
yes.
ladies from
Oh,
California. You probably know her. And let's see, you would have met her on the trips that we were on together. And Penny Up to Grove is on too. She's on a lot on the Zooms. Yay! And Scott Easterday's on. He actually is a buddy of mine that we play this game where he lives quite a ways away. He lives in Ohio. And we play this game where we have to tell each other when we get good and bad service at a business. We just have to. So like you're never going to guess what happened. And sometimes it's a good service story and sometimes it's a bad service story. But we do that because we both have businesses and learn from the stories. So it's cool that way.
oh,
But that has been you know what's funny, your mother does the whole why thing on stage, and I never wanted her to do that with me because she makes people cry.
yeah, she does.
We didn't. There's no crying in baseball over here. I don't know if it's where I live or the family I'm from or what. Oh, did you want to see my kids here? Yay!
Oh, it's so good to see you, Lydia.
That's
Oh,
Grace.
yes.
Yes, and matter of fact, this is the artist Alex, formerly known as Lydia. So
Yes.
we're on to Alex now. So
Yes.
do you see the hat? We even have an art hat. You want to see the art hat? This is a beanie. A beanie, but it looks artsy. Okay, well, never mind. Yeah, okay, so yeah, he was over riding the scooter next door. The scooter I bought 2 years ago that he ignored for 2 years is now the hit thing.
Oh,
I
timing.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So I'm just happy it's being used. Don't worry, I'm just happy it's being used.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Hey,
Anyway.
there's such a great connection to what you just shared. See, sometimes it's interesting. People would come and share with me. They're like, Grace, I'm looking for my next superstar. I'm looking for leaders. I'm looking for leaders. And oftentimes we already have leaders amongst us. We already have leaders amongst us. There's a timing for it. So just as you were sharing about Alex and the scooter, the scooter wasn't, it was almost like it was there 2 years ago. It was there. And how many people in our business, leadership is there. They just don't feel like I'm just, it's not my thing yet. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes the scooter and it's a hit. It's a sensation. And so keeping people plugged in, that was an attribute that I've learned through the years of interviews that I've conducted with top producing individuals. May I share with you? There are a few attributes that I've discovered over the years through my interviews with top performing leaders that show up in those they develop as top leaders, okay? So this is generational leadership. And one of them is plugged in. One quality attribute, something that happens that shows up in people that will achieve the highest levels of leadership in our business is that they're plugged in. And what that means is they're plugged into training. They're plugged into calls like this. They're plugged into some coaching. They're plugged into company events and conferences. They're participating. This is a quality that shows up. So if somebody shows up like you all are showing up on this call, Scott, Marion, Teresa, and beyond, what you're saying to me is that you are a leader. You have a quality that shows up in the highest achievers in our profession. And so that's, if we can look for ways to continually create opportunity for people to plug in, that's where they get exposure to new knowledge. That's where they get to practice their skills. That's where they get to get optimized, or the 2.0 version of themselves, because they're participating in these trainings or contributing to the organization in some form or fashion, so that leadership 2 years ago, like the scooter, may not have been appealing, where now they've plugged into to the point where they're saying to themselves, I have the competence and now I have the confidence to do this. See,
and that was the case too. That was the case because he needed someone to come show him how to do it. And the first friend that came to show him how, evidently he was just like doing it without saying anything or something. The second friend was the trick, the second friend, but I don't know if it was just the timing or how it was presented or what, but the second friend said something, and then all of a sudden away we went. And the second friend, though, was funny. The second friend was jumping and yelling and going, yay! The first friend was just like, I can't believe you can't ride this too.
So encouraging.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing to think about. So is it a competence? So is it that I like to ask people, when somebody comes to me and they present to me a situation, circumstance, opportunity with someone in their organization, I'll ask them, is there a competence gap? So competence means that they haven't been exposed to knowledge around this. They haven't been trained on it. This is something new to them. So is it competence, or is it confidence, where they're not feeling as sure about that for right now? So it may be they're not as sure about putting on, do I go virtual or do I go in person? Do I hello Kitty, can I speak and present on camera? Going live? That's another thing that people for years, and I was one of those that did not. It was like, go live and say what? Say what? Go live and say what?
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah,
I would have thought you'd have been all into that.
Yeah, no, I was not all into that, Lisa, until I grew more competence and confidence. And one way I grew more competence is I asked people, what do you do when you go live? How do you come up with ideas? I grew in my competence, and then I started practicing and looking at my lives as this is practice, and practice makes permanent. And that started to grow my confidence also in getting feedback. So what did I do well and what could I improve upon? What was a success and what did I learn? That right there is a little gem that you can begin to ask your team members when they contact you about a follow-up, or you contact them about a follow-up of an event or an introduction to the business. What did you succeed at and what did you learn? So it's not about succeed at or fail. It's what did you succeed at, and then what did you discover? What did you learn about the person? What did you learn about yourself? These are strategies so that people can look at something, and rather than being fearful of failing, they can be hopeful of what they're going to learn in the process. So
this person, if they don't agree to StreamYard's thing, we don't see their name. So this person needs to write their name, but she wrote, Grace, I have the DSWA Elite certified and very proud of that seal. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, write your name in the comments so that we know who you were.
Congratulations. Oh
yeah, there's many of us. I've got that seal too. Many of us have that seal and are very happy about that. If you are not even, we didn't even say what it was, Direct Selling World Alliance. So if you're not a member, why don't you go over that? I know we're going to go over that at the end, but this is one of those investments to me that is necessary to be a business owner at any level. And it is tax deductible as an education expense, I believe, either that or dues and subscriptions. Oh, it's Pam Lohman Rollins.
yes.
So yay! But to me, I have a budget that I work for my business, and I have a line item for education. And this is one of those things that is necessary to me, because if I'm not learning new stuff, how can I show new stuff? Or even, to me, it's all about setting an example too. If I'm not actively out there learning all the time, I can't expect my team to be doing that, I think.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's something that I just invested in a course a couple of days ago. Same thing. I mean, iron sharpens iron. And I did that not just as an investment in myself, I also was looking at it as an investment in the people that I have the privilege of presenting to, that I get to speak into their lives. And so the more refined I am, the more refined the messages, the more opportunities they have to grow and accelerate their success. So yes, the DSWA, we have been around for over 20 years serving the direct selling profession. Our organization has grown. We've served people in more than 30 countries. We've worked with your company, one of your premier companies, Miss Lisa, and that's why so many of the people in the organization have been elite certified or have gone through our coach school that we conducted in Chicago, which was a very special event for leaders in your company. And so DSWA, we come out with new trainings. So every single month you have access to complimentary trainings as a member and classes that we offer. Every week we put out a new concept in our app. So we have a training app that you have access to as a member. Oh yes, I know, back again.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. He's like, love the message. So,
She's the biter, though. She's the biting one. Don't bite me. Right. Yeah, the kid calls this one violent. Sorry.
oh, it's all good. It's all
I didn't
good.
mean to interrupt you.
It's okay. Teresa said that though. She said she loved the DSWA classes in Chicago was so good. Yes, you know what, Teresa, it's so interesting, and I know exactly who you are. I still am connected with you on Facebook, and I'm so grateful for our relationship and how we were brought together. Yes, we still get messages. I still see people at events, and people have reached out that said that class was life-changing for them, and we still get feedback from that. So I'm so happy to hear that you were excited. What we did in Chicago, for those of you, to just bring you in on that, we did a coach school in Chicago, and we had over 130 people
No. Ow.
in this company coming to that event. And what was interesting, and this is something I'll share with you on coaching. So coaching is known for accelerating success and high performance. So if you're looking to accelerate success and high performance, that is a skill that you want to be able to develop. It is something that we don't arrive at. It's something that we continue to refine. A few thoughts about coaching, and I'll share them with you. There are 3 best times to coach a person. First best time to coach is when there is a significant goal. So they're stretching themselves beyond their current circumstance. They want more out of their business or out of their life. So that is a stellar time to consider coaching. So if you're working with someone in your organization that says, I want more from my business, that is like a quick alert to say, this is a candidate for coaching. And coaching is an invitation. It's not an expectation. So we're not going to coach for eternity. We're going to coach and invite someone to experience this gift. The second best time to coach is when there is a roadblock, a barrier, a limiting belief, something that's hindering their progress, something that's getting in the way of where they're at and where they prefer to be in their business. So that's the second best time to coach. Third best time to coach is when they're looking or seeking for clarity. So they're not clear. Maybe they're not clear on a plan. They're not clear on their reason for the business or their why. They're not clear on a strategy, approaching their business in a strategic manner. So for example, how they can maximize their moments and create the greatest return for their investment of time. These are some ways to look at who are great candidates to coach. If these are people that are saying, I'd love to be coached by you, and what they want to do is they want to visit with you. They want to talk about your dog. They want to be your friend. They don't want to talk about your business. They don't want to do your business. This is likely not a candidate for consistent coaching. That is more of a friendship relationship. people that are looking for more from their business, and looking for more for their life, and that could coaching could be a great skill to serve them with. So I'm hoping, yes, just looking for socialization to reach that. Exactly.
You know what I like about it is I'm sure most people on here got sucked into the same hole I've been in. We're not trying to solve everybody's problems by doing the work for them or finding the answers for them. We're, as leaders, we're trying to help them find their own answers.
Yes.
And that was a shift. I was trying to solve everybody's issues, and now I don't do that. We either look it up together. If someone calls me, we're either going to look it up together, or you're going to tell me how you're going to look it up. But I'm not just looking it up and telling you anymore. No, we're not doing that. Because I don't think you can do that. If you want a big organization, you can't operate that way because there's only one of you.
So true. And that's where people that don't have that skill, they come in and they're telling, and you can tell someone what to do and how to do it. If you have 1, 10 people, 20 people in your organization, you could tell them everything that they're asking about. You can give them all of that information. You can answer all of their questions. When your organization grows and multiplies, which it does when you coach, it can be 40 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, and beyond. And we don't have the capacity. That's where leadership looks bad. When people think that, okay, I've got to be available 24/7 and answer and respond to all these questions and give them all the answers. Because what we're doing is we're handing people the fish. We're hitting them over the head with the fish. We're beating them down with the fish. Let me just beat them down with the fish.
Instead of showing them how to fish, right?
Instead of showing them how to fish.
Well, I'll tell you what I get back a lot of time for feedback when I'm telling people about this is they say, but I might lose them. But you never had them if you're serious about it, if you really realize it. You're not losing something you never had. Sometimes people are just asking a lot of questions and they're not necessarily going to do anything with the business. And that's okay. That's okay too. I think, you have to be willing to let people go too. Don't you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's a few thoughts to consider. There's some timing for this. So when it's a skill set in our business, we train them first on that skill set and then we coach. Okay, so that's the timing when it's a skill set. So skill sets like booking, selling, recruiting, product knowledge, how to do a Facebook experience, how to do an in-person experience. That's training and that's a skill set. So we train them first and then we coach them around the concepts that we just train them on. When it is a belief system, so it could be a limiting belief like I'm afraid to call people, or I don't want to be rejected, or I'm afraid of the phone, whatever may be a belief that they have, or I don't want to be pushy. I don't want people to think I'm pushy. And that's a belief system. And that's where we coach first and then we train. So there's a timing to this. The thing that sometimes when people are asking questions, we can bring that up and say, those are great questions. And that's something we can cover in a training. Or that's something that I've shared in my evergreen message that I recorded that I can send to you. Right now, this time is dedicated to awakening your creative genius and your ideas. Training is for me to teach you how to do it and what to do, which you can access at our weekly events, or you can access via our online learning system, or you can access and I can send you a recording after this call. So that's another thing, is that they don't know they're not supposed to ask it, or they don't know the timing for coaching and training. So we as leaders have an opportunity to communicate that. So we can create an awareness of what the coaching looks like, and so they have an expectation, and you have communicated clearly what you're doing and why you're doing it. One of my favorite quotes by Carl Gustav, he said, "Those who look outside dream, those who look within awaken." And so with coaching, we create a space for people to look within, to awaken to their strengths, their skill sets, their gifts, and use them.
You know, it's right. Teresa said, Lisa, you beat that out of me. I think what happened is we travel a lot, or we used to travel a lot together. We haven't been lately, but we will be soon. But we end up sitting together out by the pool or something, and you can tell the people who they're on vacation or on a company trip, and they feel compelled to answer the 38 phone calls they're getting. And I'm not getting the 38 phone calls, and that's confusing to most people, I think. You know what I mean? I'm not getting that because if someone has called me before, they know I'm not just going to read them the answer, that they're going to have to work with me, because I'm going to be like, well, where do you think we should look for that? You know what I mean? I'm asking a question, and after a while, what happens is people that would have called me over and over, they say, well, she's just going to ask me a question. I wonder what she'd ask me. And then they ask themselves the question and solve their own problem. So I don't end up getting a lot of calls from the same people over and over. So I think that's what Teresa was talking about. We sat next to each other at the pool one day, and she was doing that. And I'm like, Teresa. Yeah. And you know, when you first start doing that, though, it feels mean almost. But I realize that I'm not going to be able to help them get to that level they want to get to if I don't show them how to think for themselves. Because if I'm doing the thinking for them, what if I drop dead tomorrow, and then they're going to be without the ability to think for themselves? And that would be I need to, give them that gift.
Oh, gosh, Lisa, I love what you're saying, because it's true. See, this is what creates independent, confident people. If we're the answer source, that's not replicatable. So that cannot be duplicated if we are the answer source. And people look at that and say, I don't know if I could be available all day long every day and answer 30 phone calls while I'm sitting at the pool and not recharging myself. I don't know if I want to be a leader. So we can send a message that could sabotage future generations of our business by what we're modeling. So when we model this as a best practice, what we're doing is we're setting the tone for future generations. So for example, one of my clients that I'm working with now, I said, our work together sets a tone for how you lead going forward. How we work is how now I'm modeling something so that you can lead this way, with modeling how to coach.
Well, and people don't necessarily want to join to be a leader if they think they have to know all the answers. Right. And I actually probably know less than most people. What I know is how to find the answers. I don't know the answers. So my skill is how to find the answers. That's it. But
and that skill has rewarded you greatly, Lisa.
Right. Right. That's the important skill, evidently. Oh, so I want to talk about fun stuff for a minute. Okay. Yes. Okay. We've already said that you have eight kids, but you live on Hawaii. Oh, yeah. To us, we don't think individual islands, by the way. We just think Hawaii isn't here. It's there with palm trees and awesomeness. Yeah. What is it like to live there? That must be awesome.
It's such a peaceful place. Every morning I get to wake up to the birds. I know when it's morning because our birds are chirping. We live in the mountains, so it's a very beautiful, peaceful place. And I shared this with people. They're like, gosh, what is it like to live in Hawaii? And I was like, to me, it's a place where I can recharge very easily. So meaning refuel myself, and so that I have more to give. I can pour from an overflowing cup versus pour from empty. Uh, it is a place where there's much to be appreciated. So every day I get to look around, and I think that this is a choice. I think that everywhere offers something beautiful and a gift, an opportunity, something for us to appreciate. So I'm grateful that I get to raise my family here. Uh, it is very community oriented. We're very much about family, food, friends, fun, festivities. I mean, it's yeah. And I think what is most important though is for us to have an opportunity anywhere you live to look and appreciate the beauty around us. I think last year with our global staycation, it gave us perspective and opportunity to say, okay, what do I appreciate about where I live? Because many of us weren't traveling. I just traveled for the first time in a year and a half.
Wow.
And yeah, and I'm in the events business. So I've been traveling the world virtually like you and I are doing right now.
Right. This has been the longest I haven't traveled in 30 years probably. Because and I haven't, it's been a year and a half for me too. So
yes.
So how did the first airplane thing go? Because I've got that coming up. We're going to Florida for the convention, so I haven't been, but luckily Florida's not that far for me. Yay! Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't, yeah, the whole mask on the plane the entire time is going to be a struggle, but that's true for everybody.
That's
So,
true for everyone. Yeah. It was, I was at peace about it. I said, well, this is a part of the process. And how can I be at peace about this and do my part? So I was happy to align with what they have asked us to do and went with that. I was delighted to be able to be on the road again. I'm going again this Wednesday. I'm going to Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm going to cheese country. Cheese country.
Get one of them big cheese hats.
Yeah,
I got a cheese hat last time I was there. They had giant cheese hats.
Cheese hats, I love it.
Oh, good. Teresa's going to Orlando. It's Orlando, and we're staying at the Gaylord, that big giant resort down there. So, right, me and one of my first generation are getting a cabana. Yeah, think cabana boy. Cabana boy. I already got my finger ready. Another round. Yeah, we're gonna have. I thought we were going in early, and then they all of a sudden came out with a schedule for the day we rented the cabana, and I feel so bad that I'm going to be skipping stuff. I'm going at night. We're going at night, no matter what. So we're yes, yeah. So it's going to be fun, but we just can't wait to see everybody. I think they limited it to 1,000. Usually there's about 6,000. But I know all the diehards like me and Teresa are going to be there. She said she's going to be there. So it's going to be nice to see everybody again after all this time.
Oh my gosh. And your company does it so well. I've had the privilege of speaking at many of your conferences and events, and I'm always impressed with the generosity. I'm always impressed with what they've prepared for the people to serve you best. The festivities. I mean, it is a production. So for those of you who've been on the fence that haven't gotten your tickets yet, I encourage you to get them.
Well, they even do pretty good on the virtual. Last year they did virtual, and that was pretty good. I was actually, this sounds mean, but I didn't have high expectations. And I thought, oh well, I'll luckily I'll be virtual, so if I decide to bail out, I won't have to be seen. In person usually I'm seen if I bail, but and I actually watched way more than I would have in person because it was engaging, it was fun, they did a lot of drawings, it was interactive more than I thought it would be. So I'm really looking forward to Orlando. I think it's going to be awesome.
Oh,
So,
and
yay.
that's the other part of that. Remember, we were talking about plugged in. So whether you're plugging in virtually or plugging in live, this is an important aspect of, of, of our professional development. So one thing I like to have people think about in preparation for events like Orlando or other conferences that you're going to is to think about what am I looking to learn that will fuel me forward? So what am I looking to learn that will fuel my vision or fuel my goals forward? So that creates a purpose behind your learning and attendance. So you're looking for something specific that will fuel you or move you to bounce forward in your business. The other thing that I like to ask them to prepare for is what they're going to ask. So many people go to teach or to tell, or they want to share information versus what am I going to ask while I'm in Orlando? What's going to be my one question that will give me insight and information that, again, will fuel me forward in my business? So what's one question that I'm going to ask? Oh, yes.
Bring a new notebook. I just went and bought my new notebook because I always bring one to convention. But you know what's funny is the thing that I find the most valuable isn't necessarily the company stuff. It's the lifelong friends that I've had, that I've met, and they've been in for years. I've been in for years, and we do talk about what we're doing for business and stuff around the pool and stuff. But that's what it's been. That's what's kept me with the company is them, the other representatives, because things at the company change, the corporate people change, but many of us have just been in the company for years, and I dare say love each other. I know you don't hear that from me that often, but that's what I mean. We all just have that mutual love for each other, being in the same business, and we're all so different, but yet that's what we have in common. And it's awesome. I don't know. Awesome. Yeah, if you're on here and not, at least go to the virtual, because but then as soon as you can go to something live, do it. And there are people on here not from the same company, by the way, and many of the companies have conventions. They are fabulous. I'm actually speaking at someone else's convention on Saturday virtually.
Wow.
Right. It's my second time with them. Yeah, I know. Well, because my topic that I talk about is marketing, so it's not every company can use that. It's not company specific, but hey, so we've only got a couple minutes left already. This went so quick. I know. I'm so happy that you came on. Can you tell people if they want to get involved in DSWA and be a member, how do they go about that?
Yes. So it's either $89 a year or $8.95 a month. And you go to dswa.org. You can also get a trial membership. So you can go and test drive us for a couple of months and see how that lands with you. So go ahead and go visit the website, access some of the complimentary trainings that we have, and see how it could benefit you and be a feel-good fit for you and your business. We would love for you to plug in and participate. We've got some calls actually coming up early this month that my mother and business partner are going to be conducting, and they're all tailored towards advancing in your business. So whether that be increasing your sales, whether that be learning new trends and innovations in our business. We also offer, yes, I know. Hi, honey.
Sorry. Now $8.95, that isn't even 2 Starbucks. That's like 1.5 Starbucks a month.
1.5 Starbucks. Yes, exactly. And
that's
so
such a good investment.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the point. I mean, we had a recent student that returned her investment. I mean, like, if you think about it, if you learned one thing that you were able to share, even today, you've already paid for it. So if you were learning one thing that you were able to apply that would support you in engaging a new prospect for your business with some of the questions that we offered earlier, or it made we're willing to, gosh, it was a confidence boost for you. You're like, hey, I'm going to practice. Practice makes permanent. I'm going to practice calling people and introducing them to this new product that we have, or introducing them to this one of my favorite products, or following up with a client that you've already created a return, and everything else is a bonus. Everything else.
You want to hear something funny? One of my best, most valuable things that I learned at a conference was from your Aunt Connie.
Oh, yes.
Aunt Connie. She's a top leader in Mary Kay. And she actually just said this from the stage this time. Now we're going to hear the time. No, she said, you have my permission to hire other people to do stuff that you either not good at or don't want to do. She said, you have my permission. Now, why did I need Connie's permission? I'm not sure, but she unlocked my universe. I have other people do all kinds of stuff now, and that by itself was worth every penny that I've paid, all the whole time added, because that unlocked all my time to be able to do what I'm good at and like to do.
Yeah.
So perfect. So anyway, thank you, Aunt Connie. You guys, do you say Aunt in Hawaii or is Aunt?
Auntie. We say auntie.
Oh, yeah, so good.
Wow.
Yeah. I get kidded because I have an accent.
Yeah.
A little bit. Anyway, please go on to coachwithgrace.com and dswa.org and become part of DSWA, because it definitely is tax deductible investment in you and your team members. And thank you so much. Later in the schedule, I'm having your mom on too. So yay!
Oh, yay. Thank you.
I can't wait to see you again in person.
Oh my goodness, we feel the same way. And thank you for including us. I mean, we just feel so honored to know you all these years. My goodness, more than 2 decades.
Yes, we were all wee children when we met. I'm going to keep going with that, by the way. Right, the older I get, the worse I'm going to be about it. Anyway, Grace, thank you so much. If you stay right there a minute. Oh, I didn't ask you the most important question. I end every interview with this important question. Okay, which is your favorite? Is it cookies, brownies, or sea salt caramels?
Oh, sea salt caramels.
Oh, I'm going to send you some sea salt caramels as a thank you gift for being on the show. I appreciate. Oh, you're going to love those. They're really good if you haven't had them yet.
They sound fabulous. Thank you. I would have been happy to do that.
Well, stay right there for a second. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody. See you soon.